I'm an American living in Canada and I've lived here for almost 3 years, so I thought it'd be fun to talk about the 3 things that I haven't adjusted to since living here in Canada. They're not crazy, but I think some people think that it's easier to adapt than others. So here are the 3 things that I don't think I'll ever get rid of that I brought from the States. Maybe it's not just the States, but I'm pretty sure it is. Number 1 is I tell all temperature for the weather in Fahrenheit. I know some friends that also moved up here from the States, they like quickly convert to Celsius. I do know what some of the numbers are in Celsius, but if someone asks me the temperature, I will give it to them in Fahrenheit, which isn't always the most helpful. Number 2 is the difference between miles and kilometers. Like, I understand it with speed, so don't be worried on the streets, but just in distance, I think it's because I run in miles, like my Apple Watch is just set to miles, so that's why I know it. But if someone's like, hey, that's 3 kilometers away, I don't fully know how far that is. And also someone asks like, oh, how far is that away from your apartment? Or how far is it away from point A to point B? I will give it in miles, which I know is a little bit stupid, but it just makes sense. And I feel like you just grow up doing that, so then that's just ingrained in me. So like I can computate it in my mind, but it does take a lot of effort, and I just don't think it's something I'll ever shake. The last thing that's kind of important to me is that I don't call pop up here like a canned soda. I don't call it pop, I call it soda. It makes sense to me. I understand when people say soda or when people say pop what they're referring to, but for me, I've always called it soda, especially with like the dirty sodas. I wouldn't call it a dirty pop. Like, that just sounds crazy. You don't really get the full vibe. But those are the 3 things that I haven't adjusted to here. I'm sure there's more, so let me know if you want to know some of the things. And also let me know if you want to know any of the things that I adjusted quickly to. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit to think about, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. But hopefully you're having a good day.
I'm in Canada right now, and it's so crazy how nice Canadians are and how, like, thoughtful they are and how much they process other people's emotions and trauma. So right now they have, like, a retail theft issue, they have a houseless people issue, and those people usually have mental health and addiction issues as well. So, like, Vancouver is arguing with the federal government in Canada because they're like, yo, we need more money for addiction recovery programs and houselessness programs because they understand that that's what's causing the crime. Like, America could never. America's just like, oh, you're houseless? Jail. Oh, you have an addiction? Jail. Oh, you're having a mental health episode? Pow, pow, pow by the police officers. And then to top it off, this guy that I met yesterday, he's from San Diego, but he's living in Vancouver, and he's probably going to stay here because he wants to go into like a job field that's mainly contract work. And he's like, I want healthcare. So it's better for me to stay in Canada than going to America. In America, the healthcare is reserved for the rich. And then if you're not rich, you either get pow-powed by the police or you go to jail. And that's just lovely, right? Or you become houseless from your medical debt.
Wait, this is Canada? It's the same as the US. I mean, yeah, it's cool, I guess, but they barely have accents. I just thought the people here would look a little more foreign. Sir? I mean, all they have is ketchup, chips, and weird money. I mean, yeah, it's nice. You know, it's not bad, but I just don't get... I love it here.
I thought all the signs was in Canadian, but they actually in English, so I could read them.
We are absolutely not a perfect people. We have a brutal history.
I was using Spanish words. My girl had to tell me. I'm supposed to be using French words in Canada. I was saying si instead of we.
We have our share political, right-wing, Alberta. We are not a perfect people.
I was scared to talk to some Canadians. Thought I was going to get in a fight. I was looking for a fight, actually, but all the Canadians are nice.
A lot of people really like Canada, and they think it's a Disneyland, a fantasy land.
I thought y'all drove on the wrong side of the road, but y'all drive like us. Same vehicles and everything.
Hello guys, welcome back once again to the channel. Now, it's crazy how Canada and the United States shares the longest border in the world, but Canadians who are moving to the United States, they are visiting there, they are discovering some things they never saw in Canada. And Americans who are moving to Canada, they are discovering some differences, maybe the way they measure distance, temperature, how they do their things, the way they interact with people. And in this video, I want us to dive into this content. Americans visiting Canada and Canadians visiting United States. What are the differences? What they are discovering? So in short, we are comparing the differences between Canada and America. Then we shall be talking about these differences.
Differences between Canada and America. So I have been living in America for about a year now, and I grew up, born, raised, went to my undergrad in Canada, so I was living there for a very long time. And just in this short term year, I've noticed a lot of differences. The first one being manners. Now I know it's it's a stereotype that Americans are not as nice as Canadians, but it's like the mannerisms. Like, you're going out for dinner with someone, and normally in Canada, you're like, can I please get this? Like, thank you so much, whatever. Here, it's just like, I'm gonna get this. Bye. It's like, no, please, no, thank you. Like, shopping, grocery, whatever it is. It's not like, thanks, have a good day. It's literally like, okay, bye. It's like, what happened to the thank you? What happened to the please? Say it. Or say sorry. And I know that we say it weird. Sorry, whatever the difference is. But, like, you can say it. Be nice. The second is road rage. Like, oh my gosh, people are so crazy on the road here. Like, yes, there's more people and a bigger population, but like, oh my goodness, the road rage here is absolutely insane. Like, they don't even care about pedestrians. It's insane. And like, kind of that goes around that is distance. So here, what I've realized is they normally talk about distance in time. So they'll be like, oh, it's 15 away. Like, it's 15 minutes away. So, whereas like we in Canada talk about the actual distance, like it's this many kilometers, whatever, which is a little bit different. The next one is, here they say like freshman, sophomore. I don't even know what else there is, but in Canada we do not do that, and that is way too complicated. We literally just do first year, second year, third year, fourth year, easy, done. Fifth year if you had to do that. Oh, and paying in the US. So in the US, you put your card down and they take it and they do the transaction, and then you have to sign the bill when you get back and put the tip in. Whereas in Canada, they bring the cash register, not the cash registers, whatever the machine is, they bring it to you and you put your thing in, you click the tip, and then they walk away with it. They don't have to come back. I don't know why they take it in the US when you can just do it there, but it's different and they do. And the second last one is the difference between washroom and restroom. If you say washroom here in America, people are like, what the heck? But it is a washroom. Like in Canada, we say washroom all the time because you're washing your hands and you're washing yourself up after that. Here they say restroom. Like, I thought rest meant sleep, but okay. And last but not least, my favorite thing ever is our Caesar in Canada. You guys have Bloody Marys in America, but the Caesar is so much better. We do it up. Sometimes we make it into like a meal. Sometimes we make it spicy. We put whatever we want in it. Your Bloody Marys here are just not good. I'm sorry.
Part 3 of the biggest differences I've found from being Canadian but living in America. Okay, number 1, I knew that obviously people in the US had prom, but in Canada, we don't have prom. And people are always so shocked when they find out that we don't have prom. Like, we have grad, but it's not the same thing, and it's not a yearly thing. It's just like you finish school. And I didn't even get a grad because of COVID, so no prom, and everyone's always so shocked. Number 2 is people just thinking Canada is way smaller than it actually is, both in people and in landmass. You will say, oh, I have like this one friend that I met in Canada. Oh, you probably know them, right? And I'm like, no, I don't. Maybe it's the odd chance I do. I had one Uber driver that was like, you must know Shania Twain. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. Also, people will be like, oh yeah, Edmonton to Toronto, that sounds like it's not that far. And you're like, it's a 4-hour flight. It's on the complete opposite side. Number 3, people are always so shocked when they're like, oh, hey, just like Venmo me the money. And I'm like, oh, we don't have Venmo. Honestly, I don't know why we don't. Well, we have e-transfer. And they're like, what is that for? calling middle school junior high, like, oh yeah, back in junior high, and they're like, huh? I mean middle school. I'm like, no, grade 7, 8, 9. There, it's only grades 7 and 8. Just little differences, but it always trips people up.
What sets Canada apart from the United States is the fact that Canada as a system doesn't pressure immigrants into adopting Canadian patriotism and national identity above their own culture in the way that the United States does to its immigrants. For example, the United States has a long history of bullying, brutalizing, dehumanizing, and systemically marginalizing immigrant communities into accepting American patriotism above their own identity. They did it to the Italians, the Chinese immigrants, Hispanic immigrants, Haitian immigrants, the list goes on. They have a long history of doing this. They want you to be American first and then be an immigrant. Whereas in Canada, you can be an immigrant and be Canadian simultaneously. There is no pressure to give one up over the other. And that's what makes us different. That's not to say that there isn't racism in Canada, because there's racism everywhere. For example, First Nations communities have experienced cultural erasure and systemic injustice, as well as Black Nova Scotians, right? Those are very real experiences, and I'm not here to downplay that. But Canada's a lot more lenient. You don't have to give up your culture in order to be Canadian. Whereas in America, you better not try it. I mean, you can openly embrace your culture, but you will experience a lot more dehumanization, systemic injustice, and overall disrespect. And some would argue that this is not true because Indian immigrants have been experiencing a lot of racism lately, which is true. But we also have to be honest about the fact that racist white Canadians are not bold with their racism. They mainly hide on the internet behind anonymous accounts where they hurl racial slurs all day that they would never repeat in real life.
5 differences between Canada and the US that I noticed in my first 24 hours in Canada as a US citizen. Number 1. So what I noticed immediately upon crossing the border from the US to Canada driving is that speed is measured in kilometers, not miles per hour. So I was seeing signs that were like 100 speed limit signs, and I was a little confused and a little bit like, wow, people go really fast here. And then quickly realized it was in kilometers, which is like 65 miles per hour, maybe less. So I just went with the traffic. Number 2, this is not true for all of Canada, obviously, but if you are in the province of Quebec, the official language is French. Now, a lot of people are bilingual. For instance, I'm in Montreal, which is a bilingual city, but French is the primary language. So people greet you with bonjour instead of hello. And all of the signage is in French. There might be like English under the French, but French first. So if you don't speak French or you don't speak French fluently, you can just start with bonjour and then go into whatever you have to say in English. It's funny because I took French for 7 years. J'ai étudié le français pour 7 ans, but I'm very rusty, so I'm not even like, I don't even want to try because I don't want to embarrass myself. Number 3, going along with the whole kilometers, miles per hour thing, temperature is measured in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So I got into my hotel room and the thermostat said like 20 degrees. And of course I was like, that doesn't seem right. But it was in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. I always thought that was a European thing, but that's what they use in Canada. So number 4, this could be totally incidental and not like a pervasive thing in Canada, but I have not seen like any police. There's like not a big police presence where I've been thus far. And I noticed it right away because again, I was driving from New York State into Canada. There are so many New York State police cars like on the expressways in New York. So many speed traps. They were like everywhere yesterday. And then I got into Canada, didn't see a single police car, sheriff, whatever. Even here in Montreal, I have not seen any police yet. So just thought that was interesting. And number 5, this could be unique to Quebec or Montreal, I don't know, but Google Maps does not reflect the accurate or up-to-date business hours for places. Last night, I was dying for a crepe. Anyway, I was dying for a crepe and I went to 2 different places that were open according to Google Maps and they were not open. They were very much closed, very dark. So that was weird. Again, I don't know if this is just like a coincidence, but it seemed as though Google Maps maybe is not as reliable here. If you ever get the chance to visit Montreal, highly recommend. It feels like Europe meets New York City, but like the nice parts of New York City.
As someone who's from Canada, I would give up my life and soul to go to a school in the US. I'm referring to high school, by the way. Here in Canada, Friday night football does not exist, and if it does, it is not a big deal, and like no one goes and watches. On top of that, we do not get HOCO or any type of prom except for grade 12. We do not refer to our grades as like sophomore or senior. We use grade 11, 12, 10, 9, like that. School sports are not really a big deal unless you're on the team. If you're on the team, they are, but no one's coming to watch. I know at some schools you guys do a lot of buyouts and stuff. We do not do many of those. At our schools, we do not really have bleachers. They are like little picnic benches if you want to watch. And if you're playing, there's no such thing as like a big crowd or anything. Our schooling does not look like those big stadiums that you guys have at every high school in the US. I think this is just my school, but we do not have a cafeteria. There's nowhere we can buy school in the school. I think we have one vending machine and that's it. Another thing that is literally just my school, but we do not have kilts, but we do have uniforms. They don't think we can wear kilts, which is really dumb. I know in the States you guys have middle school, and here we don't. This is not everywhere in Canada, but the high school that I go to. Peace out, guys.
But I wanted to just check in here and share with you 3 things that are different between living in the US and living in Canada. And number 1, let's talk Olympics. So I love the Olympics. I've actually always been more of a fan of the Winter Olympics than Summer Olympics, and because I love speed skating and ice skating and hockey. But my husband is like what I thought was like an Olympic fanatic, and was only matched when we would go abroad and people were just constantly watching and are talking about the Olympics and really celebrating for their country or their teams. And but in the States, it's like really much more difficult to find someone who's following the Olympics and know what's going on. But here I feel like I could just like throw a rock and find someone who would be watching the Olympics. The second is that folks here, at least in PEI, are so much more active than the US. So again, I grew up in New York City, where people are constantly walking. But I spent 20 years in Pennsylvania. I lived in several other states for a wee bit. But here people are, at least again in Prince Edward Island, are constantly walking, they're biking, they're involved in sports. Even in wintertime, they're not like, it's a time to relax. It's, let's go see what's at community school. Back in the States, you would see some people that would walk or run or bike. More people went to the gym than actually did outdoor activities. But I love being here because everyone's so active. And yeah, I mean, as someone who's a New Yorker, I really miss like walking with people. I haven't done a lot here because I'm worried about the ice because I had a really bad fall one year, but yeah, love it. All right, and the third thing is actually about grocery shopping, which there's so many different things about that too. But it's the sheer fact of like, when I watch people like leave the grocery store, how their carts are not full. And more people here seem to use the smaller carts than the larger carts. In the States, everyone would pack in like the super large carts. They would not bring their own bags. It would be overflowing stuff underneath of there as well. And like even here, I remember like the first and second time I went to like the Walmart, like looking around because I was like, oh, this is Walmart. Surely everybody must like super buy here. People were still leaving with like just a few bags or maybe like half a cart, but nobody shops like here like I've ever seen American. Again, maybe that's just a PEI thing, but it's refreshing to me. I don't know if that means that people still have a lot of produce that they, kept over the summertime that they canned, or they're still buying from local farmers, or just maybe y'all just don't eat as much. Anyway, it was a big difference. And the fact that everybody brings their own bag, because of course you'd have to pay for a bag, but I love that.
I've watched these videos, and quickly let me just tell you in summary what the things I've noticed from these people who made the videos and how I read the comments, how people were saying the differences. Number 1, healthcare system. Canada, publicly funded healthcare. Citizens don't pay directly at hospitals, while the United States, mostly private healthcare are covered by insurance based and can be so much expensive. Number 2, population size. Canada, around 40 million people. In the US, 330 plus million people. Big difference in market size and economic scale too. Number 3, gun laws. Of course, Canada has a very strict gun control law, but the United States, more permissive gun laws, Second Amendment rights, as you all know. Number 4, political system. Canada uses parliamentary democracy plus constitutional monarchy connected to the British crown, but in the US, It's just the presidential republic. Number 5, culture and identity. Canadian often stereotyped as polite, multicultural, quieter global presence, while in the US, strong national pride, more outspoken, and global influence. Number 6, cost of living. Canada, high housing cost, especially Toronto and Vancouver, while in the US varies widely. Cheaper in some states, expensive in some cities like New York and California. Number 7, climate. Canada has long and harsher winters, while in the US, wider climate range, especially Florida heat to Alaska cold. Number 8, military and global power. Smaller military and less global intervention in Canada, while in the US, we have the largest military budget in the world. Number 9, educational cost. Canada has lower university tuitions compared to the US, while the US has higher tuition, significant student debt issues. Number 10, national identity and immigration. Canada, immigration focused identity. Officially multiculturalism. But in the US, melting pot, identity with strong patriotism culture. Well, number 11, distance. It's kilometers versus miles. Canada uses kilometers, while in the US they use miles. So in simple term, in America they say it's 60 miles away, while in Canada they say Canadians start calculating time in their head. Number 12, temperature is Celsius versus Fahrenheit. Canada uses Celsius or degrees Celsius. They use degrees. Canada uses Celsius, while the US uses Fahrenheit. So when America say it's 70 degrees, Canadians are confused for some 3 seconds. Now, money names. Canadians use Canadian dollars, CAD, while US uses United States dollars, USD, even though both use dollar as valued, but values differ. Now, spelling differences. Canada uses British style spelling, that is color center favorite. United States spelling, they use American spelling, that is color center favorite. I'm kind of confused with that point. Number 15, national holidays. Canada Day is July 1, while the United States Independence Day is July 4. These 3 days apart, but totally different vibes. Number 16, Prime Minister versus President. Canada uses the Prime Minister, while the United States uses the President. Difference in leadership structure completely. Tipping culture. Canada is 15 to 20% common, while in the US it is 18 to 25, and it's expected in many places. In the US, tipping is almost mandatory. Number 18, milk packing or milk packaging. Canada, milk in bag is in some provinces, while in the US, milk in jugs and cartons. Number 19, Thanksgiving dates. Canada is always on October, while US it's November. Same holiday name, different timing. Number 20, patriotism style. Canada, it's more subtle, while in the US, flags are everywhere, including in homes, cars, schools. So in short, Americans go big on national pride. Number 21, sports obsession. Canada, they go for hockey. They say hockey is king, while in the US, football dominates. Different national sports energy. Number 22, minimal drinking age in Canada is 18 or 19, depending on provinces, while in America, it is 21 nationwide. So tell me more differences in the comment section. These are just the differences that I've gathered from these videos that you've just seen, and from the comments that I've been reading through and noting down. And I kind of find this very, very interesting that Canada and the United States are sharing the largest border in the entire earth, but they can't just say, let's use same language or whatever. But those are two different countries. Tell me what you think in the comments.